The biggest trials of our time share their inside secrets. Jurors from the Phil Spector and Scott Peterson murder trials are right here tonight to reveal what might really be going on now with the Jodi Arias jury. Are the jurors being influenced by TV crime shows? What should jurors ask the psychologist who is backing up Jodi's abuse claims? What will be the #1 Jodi jury secret revealed on the Showbiz Countdown? Plus, a secret wish at Disneyland that made a little girl smile, but it is sure to bring tears to your eyes.
I'm wishing for the one I love.
It's tonight's Showbiz Tearjerker. Showbiz Tonight continues right now. Welcome back to Showbiz Tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm AJ Hammer, and tonight on the Showbiz Countdown, we are digging into the top 3 secrets of the Jodi Arias jury, and I am going directly to the people who know. With us tonight are jurors who served on 2 of the most notorious cases in recent years. Ricardo Enriqueuz served on the very first trial of legendary record producer Phil Spector, who was convicted of murder at his second trial. Ricardo in Hollywood tonight. And in San Francisco tonight, Mike Belmessiere, who was on the jury that convicted Scott Peterson of murdering his wife and their unborn child. So great having you guys here. We are kicking off the countdown with #3. What's the secret behind how the jurors must keep their mouths shut? Now, juror #5 in the Jodi Arias murder trial was just kicked off the case after months of being there for the trial for reportedly cracking a joke about one of the defense's key witnesses. And in a brand new interview with Phoenix affiliate KPNX, she defends herself. Watch this.
I don't really see myself in the center of attention, you know, and I shouldn't be in any case. But it's a good opportunity to be part of the jury duty. But in my case, I guess that was not.
Do you wish that you had stayed on?
Yes. Yes.
Are you going to go back to the trial and watch from the gallery?
I don't know. After yesterday, it was so many reporters chasing, and you know.
Imagine being a part of that and so invested for so long, and then like that it's done. Ricardo, let me start with you. Tell me about that pressure that you face when you're sitting on a jury in such a notorious case, as you have to be so careful about what you say. Help us understand what the Arias jurors are likely going through as far as that's concerned.
Well, I'm sure that the judge has instructed them to make sure that they do not discuss this amongst themselves, which is something that we were instructed by the judge on a daily basis. So it's not difficult because we were reminded daily.
See, I would think it would be tough. And Mike, let me ask you. I mean, I'm sure you had to hold your tongue during testimony in the Scott Peterson trial. Help us understand how the Arias jurors are doing that based on what you went through.
Well, I didn't feel a need to hold my tongue. The judge had admonished us and told us, as Ricardo said, every day, that we were not to discuss this case even among ourselves. And so, you know, there was so much, you know, so much pressure on you to not do that, and it's just simply, you know, your duty to not do so. So, you know, we had one juror, 3 jurors dismissed, but excuse me. Only two were dismissed. One because he became more of a distraction than a contribution to the system, and the other because she went on and acknowledged that she had done a search of a particular website. We just simply didn't discuss the case unless we were in deliberations, because that was our duty. That was our responsibility. People find out you're on a jury, like Peterson, and they come up and say, "Oh, you're on the Peterson jury." Yes, and leave it at that, because it's no one's business what's going on in that courtroom, and you can't discuss it anyway. You know, it's a matter of what you've been told not to do, and
sure,
it's very clear.
Yeah, it's just so interesting to me, because it's not something, you know, that happens every day in your life where you're basically given these instructions and you have to follow them. So I would think it would be possible. And Ricardo, tell me if even casually at any point maybe you said something about the case that you didn't think of at the time, but then maybe realized later, if anybody found that out, you might have been worried it could have caused a problem.
Well, there was times that after the defense attorneys would present the defense witnesses, and some of the things that they were saying were so beyond common sense that once we went back into the jury room, we kind of sit across from one another and kind of maybe roll our eyes and be really silent, knowing that we just been fed some BS, and then we go amongst our daily business, talking about birthdays, for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an initial we all look each other in the eye and kind of roll our eyes.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it is a lot to bottle up, but there are a lot of burning questions left to be asked in the Jodi Arias trial. This takes us to number 2 on our Showbiz Countdown of Jury Secrets. What kinds of questions should the Arias jury ask the controversial domestic violence expert who's been testifying for more than a week for the defense, supporting Jodi's claim that she was abused by her boyfriend, Travis Alexander, before she killed him? Now, her testimony followed that of a doctor who testified for the defense that he believes Jodi suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, and that's why she might have no memory of the killing. Now, the jury asked the doctor how he could be so sure that she wasn't just flat-out lying. Watch this.
Can you be sure Jodi is not lying to you about the events on June 4, 2008?
Not with 100% certainty. I can't say that. However, when you look at the repeated stories, several different times asked the same question, the story was not 100% the same, but the basic aspects of the story were sufficient, and it seemed to, at least with certain elements, be consistent with the description of the crime scene. So I would say there's a very strong probability that once she finally told the right story, the second story, that she was being truthful at that time.
Okay, so now we have the domestic abuse expert on the stand who has been testifying that Travis Alexander abused Arias in the months leading up to his brutal slaying. We all know that the jury is going to get to ask her questions. Mike, I know you didn't get to do that during your trial, but what do you think is going through the jurors' heads right now?
Well, one of the things that went through their head when the first juror was dismissed is they got a reality check, and the first thing that they did is, I probably would do, is who ratted this person out, so to speak. And then they got past that and realized that the right thing to do was to not speak about it. Right now they're sitting back and they're just taking everything in and individually sorting through all of the information they've got. It would have been nice to be able to ask those questions for us, but then again, what would we ask Scott Peterson? I mean, the man doesn't know the truth if it bit him in the behind.
Right.
That sort of thing. But, back on to the first question, just came to mind that, one of the things that I was asked by one of the jurors, Justin Falconer, one day on the way to lunch was he questioned the issue of testimony by one of the jurors relative to search and seizure, his rights, Scott's rights under the Fourth Amendment. And I just told him that, we don't talk about the case. It's just that simple. I told him that the judge would tell us what to accept and what not to accept as testimony, and if the judge didn't say anything, leave it alone, and we can't talk about the case, so let's move forward.
Right. Well, I want to move forward here, though, Mike, because it's been fascinating, I think, for everybody to see the defense's domestic abuse expert responding to the prosecutor who asked about Jodi manipulating other people in her life. The psychologist says she cannot characterize Jodi as being manipulative, despite talking to other people in Jodi's life who say she was. Let's watch that.
Even if I say I believe that she was manipulative at that time, it doesn't mean I believe as a characteristic that she is. I could believe that she was manipulative at that time. It does not, it's situational. It doesn't mean that I believe as a characteristic of Miss Arias that she's a manipulative person.
I hear that. It sounds like a lot of doublespeak, but if you're on that Arias jury, Ricardo, what can't you wait to ask that woman on the stand?
gee, how much you get paid? You know, one of the things that always surprised me at the Phil Spector murder trial was the amount of money that the defense would admit to that each the expert witnesses were getting paid.
And did that diminish the credibility of them right away for you?
It did for me, in conjunction with some of the answers that were given to the questions presented to them, which were totally beyond any kind of, you know, sense, common sense or physics. You know, it just didn't make any sense. They were there to pay to maintain a certain line, and that was to defend, you know, Phil Spector.
Yeah, no, they're doing their job. All right, well, there's one more thing we must ask you guys about to give us a fascinating look at the secrets of the Jodi Arias jury. It is #1 on the Showbiz Countdown. That big reveal is coming up in just a moment. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. Also, fairy tales can come true with a little Disney magic and a little help from Snow White. This is a fairy tale wish that one little girl will never forget.
With Daddy gone for 7 months to Afghanistan, no wonder 4-year-old Alyssa Brown gave Snow White this wish.
It's tonight's Showbiz Tearjerker. And wait till you see what we named as our moment of Showbiz awesomeness tonight. This is SBT. Showbiz Tonight on HLN.
What do you get when you take 100% whole grain brown rice and wheat and bake it with real sweet potato or savory red bean? A new line of Triscuit crackers with a delicious taste and a crispier crunch. Brown Rice Triscuit, a new take on an old favorite.
They say that hard work is its own reward. But there's nothing wrong with enjoying a little extra reward. That's why Southwest built a better Rapid Rewards program with unlimited reward seats, no blackout dates, and points that don't expire. Rewards that actually reward you. We are Southwest. Welcome aboard.
You can choose to take your chances, or you can choose the Infiniti JX, the only luxury crossover in the world that can sense what's behind you, even when you can't, and can apply the brakes even before you do. The Infiniti JX with backup collision intervention system. Lease an Infiniti JX for $489 a month. Infiniti, inspired performance.
With the Spark Cash Card from Capital One, Boris earns unlimited rewards for his small business.
Can I get the Smith contract, please? Thank you.
It's 3 new paper shredders. Put them on my Spark card.
Boris's small business earns 2% cash back on every purchase every day. Great businesses deserve unlimited rewards.
Read back the chicken's testimony, please.
Get the Spark Business Card from Capital One and earn unlimited rewards. Choose 2% cash back or double miles on every purchase every day.
Told you I'd get half.
What's in your wallet?
This is America. We don't let frequent heartburn come between us and what we love. So if you're one of them people that gets heartburn and then treats day after day, block the acid with Prilosec OTC. And don't get heartburn in the first place.
One Village Warning, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. The Jodi Arias murder trial in session this Friday. And you can bet Nancy's got all the courtroom drama. Nancy Grace Mysteries. HLN tomorrow night, 8 Eastern.
Why don't others offer zero-turn riders with steering wheel control and four-wheel steering? Who else puts electronic power steering in lawn and garden tractors? How many others deliver the beautiful Cub Cadet signature cut? Prove to yourself what makes Cub Cadet the smartest choice. Take a test drive at your local dealer. There's no better time to get a Cub Cadet thanks to $100 off select models. Visit your local dealer today to see what makes Cub Cadet the smartest choice.
When everything's included, the kids get a vacation of their own, and so do we. But when we get together, it's the best time of all.
I can feel it
Right now, you can get up to 65% off. Call your travel agent or 1-800-BEACHES.
Raising America with Kira Phillips, tomorrow at noon on HLN.
Welcome Welcome back to Showbiz Tonight. I'm AJ Hammer, and tonight on the Showbiz Countdown, the top 3 secrets of the Jodi Arias jury. And here's where we are so far. At number 3, revelations about how the jury in the Jodi Arias case must sit there absolutely stone-faced day in and day out, and they can't talk about the case. At number 2, what kinds of questions should the Arias jury ask the controversial domestic violence expert who's been testifying for the defense? Back with us from Hollywood, I'm so pleased to have Ricardo Enriquez here. He served on the first murder trial of the legendary record producer Phil Spector. Mike Messieri is also here with us from San Francisco. He was on the jury that convicted Scott Peterson of murdering his wife and their unborn child. So here's our number 1 on the countdown, the secret of how the Jodi Arias jury might be influenced by watching TV crime shows, the so-called CSI effect. Now, I just spoke with Jim Clemente. He's an advisor and a writer on the hit CBS show Criminal Minds. Watch what he told me.
It's raised the bar for all witnesses to take the stand, whether it's the defendant or the prosecution witnesses. And basically, if you look at the profound effect that TV has had on just the general population, when LA Law was out, for example, female law school admissions went up 20%.
All right, Ricardo, you heard Jim. It has raised the bar, and people now really want to get into the law and to some degree feel they're experts. Were you seeing any of that when you were a juror in the Phil Spector trial?
Yes, during deliberations, a couple of the jurors, when we're going through the evidence, said, God, if we only had a camera or a video or sound, it would have made it much easier. And I said, but we don't. You know, based on the evidence, we got to come up with a verdict. You know, we don't have a camera, we don't have audio. We have to think, you know, and back on the evidence and come up with something.
Mike, did you witness the CSI effect at all on the Scott Peterson case?
It's funny you should say CSI, because during deliberations, we were deliberating over a very fact, and one of the jurors said, you know, this isn't CSI, guys. And you know, I just thought about that when you said, no, but you know, actually, we were pretty sensible group of people, I think. We didn't go beyond what our realm of expertise was. You know, I have a degree in administration of justice. I've served as a police officer. I've been involved in homicide investigation, what have you. But you know, when you're on a jury, you know, like the one juror said, this is a CSI. Don't dig deep. Don't go beyond what your area of expertise is, if in fact your area is even expert in that area.
But of course, as we always see in daily life, really from so many influences, we see how TV shows of all varieties can affect how we act, what we think we know. Ricardo, I'm curious, how do you think that the CSI effect might play into what the Arias jury decides?
It's hard to say. You know, one of the things I did bring up during the deliberations was, let's say, you know, we know dinosaurs exist. It's a theory, but a theory based on fact. So the same thing with the Phil Spector murder trial. There was 2 people involved, and we kind of made it look like, you know, 2 people walked into a cloud, 1 person's dead. And based on the evidence, what could have happened? And sure, for me, it wasn't her committing suicide.
Well, we certainly got even more insight into the CSI effect from our Criminal Minds advisor, Jim Clemente, that we had on. He told me how jurors know criminals and their behavior because they watch crime shows on TV. And he told me how it makes so many people want to work within the criminal justice system. This is great. Watch this.
When X-Files came out, the FBI was flooded with applications. It definitely affects the general population. And unless those jurors never watch TV, they are going to be affected by it. They know more today. They know about sophistication, and they know about how criminals can lie, and they know how difficult the job of a cop is.
Now, Ricardo, very quickly, did you get the sense that anybody on your jury knew when they heard lies or thought they did because of perhaps what they had seen on TV in terms of how these shows deal with cases?
It's hard to say. I mean, you know, some of the defense experts were really out there, so it really didn't take a lot to figure out that they were, you know, not being that truthful.
Interesting. All right, Ricardo, Mike, it's been so great having you back here. Thank you so much. You guys have such special insight. Thanks again.
Take care.
And as we switch gears now, we're going to a secret wish at Disneyland. It made a little girl smile, but